Hey everybody, in this episode of the GH Report, we're going to be breaking down all the latest happenings in Port Charles. Who's going to be joining me? Oh, just wait and find out. Let's do it.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yes! When you hear that music there on Sunday night, it can mean only one thing. That's right, it is the GH Report right here on AFTERBUZZ TV. This, of course, is a show where we break down all the latest happenings in Port Charles, get into the nitty-gritty, discuss all the different viewpoints. I'm one of your hosts, Frank Moran. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Usually we've got Lucretia Lyon, my partner in crime, breaking down all happenings in Port Charles. But she is, I'm not even saying on assignment, she is on a little mini vacay. She's over at LA Comic-Con. For those of you that watch us on the Comic Book Exchange, we did a panel there yesterday at LA Comic-Con and shows she's back there today. Glad-handing, pressing the flesh, signing autographs, taking pictures with fans. You know, Lucretia Lyon, very popular. So, of course, she's up and running and doing that. But never fear, I will be here to break down this latest week here. Steve, who's running the show in the booth, is going to be so kind to pull up the chat, so I'll get a chance to hear what you hear and read what you folks thought about the week as well. And just to keep Steve on his toes, since I know it's just me, but I know there's multiple cameras in the room. So I've got this camera, and I've got this camera. I've got this camera. I'm just doing that, Steve, just for no other reason than just because I could. Pivot my chair like that to these different cameras. All right, enough of the silly chair shenanigans right there. Yeah, and for those of you that is getting close to bedtime, like say a certain special someone that I know goes by the name of Josie, it is almost time for bed. So enjoy wrapping up that David S. Pumpkin special, and we'll see you tomorrow. But for you folks that are here for the GH Report, oh man, what a week it was. Certainly, I think we all have our favorite part. At least for me, I think hopefully we're in agreement here that the biggest storyline going on is probably the best storyline that they've been doing in a while. It's one that I'm actually been enjoying. And for all my trepidation about GH kind of slow playing reveals, the Patient 6, the return of Jason Morgan story has been my favorite storyline. So I feel like I could just dive into that and talk about that a lot. But I'm going to hold off. I'm gonna save the dessert and towards the end of the show here. So we'll do, of course, we'll go through some of the other stuff. We'll have to get through some of the stuff you don't like to eat first, like like the vegetables, like the broccoli, the cauliflower. You don't want to eat those first, but you got to do it so you can get to the other stuff. The one we'll start off right there is just man landers. I could only hope. We were so close. We were so close to just being done with the storyline forever. And then, of course, you know it, that it was never going to be that fortunate. I mean, and Nathan finally said, enough's enough. I can't do this anymore, nor can I blame him. I mean, this is getting way more than he bargained for. And so he tells Amy that's like, I'm done. We can't do this anymore. And sure enough, as he's about to tell Maxie, of course, has to set up a meeting with Nina to say, you know what, the reason you should hire me at Crimson is because I can give you inside access to Ask Man Lander. So I can tell you what it's like to be right there, as he's formulating all his fantastic advice that he's doling out, which I have to admit, seems like, I don't know, would anybody want to read stories about that? I'm thinking, and certainly not a real world equivalent like Dear Abby or something like that, or I guess like any other advice columnist. Do you want to read another article telling you like the inside scoop of this person that's doling out advice? That does not seem very exciting at all. Yet that's what Maxie's pitching to Nina, and Nina, of course, since Nathan's her brother, says yeah, great, let's do this. So then when Nathan says, you know what, we're done with Man Landers, guess what, Maxie, we're free and clear. We can just live our lives, you and me together. And Maxie says, no way, no how. We still have to be Man Landers. We were so close, guys, so close. It's and what I love in the chat is that it's nobody seems to be really loving the storyline at all either. TR says don't like Man or Landers. Charlie in charge says, really, couldn't Nina just get the Man Landers crappy info directly from Nathan? Come on. Absolutely. Why you need Maxie as a middle person, I don't know. But I'm also thinking like, all right, so everybody's reading it to get this great advice, but then what are these articles going to be like about inside, the man of Manlanders? It's just like what he ate for the morning, like where he, how many push-ups did he do? What was his workout set like? How long did he shower? Like, hey, I don't know what these articles would be about, but I can't imagine anybody's going to be captivated about wanting to read those. Rodell Danielle says, kill the Manlander story. Absolutely. Yes. And our Melvin fan, we're starting with Manlander so we can get it over with. Yes, we are. It's again, I don't know I don't know why we keep doing the storyline, because as people are saying, that it does, Maxie, it doesn't hurt no good. There's got to be other storylines that you can do, and we've all, whether it be in the chat or be Lucretia and I on the show, or even James when he was on the show, said, there's so many things you could do with Nathan that don't revolve around this Manlanders. There's no reason to keep dragging the story out. And I feel like at this point, it is merely the writers and the producers of the show saying, you know what, we're just going to keep needling the fans with the storyline. Because I have to admit, if we're all feeling the same way about this Manlander story, I got to have a feeling that a larger cross-section of the audience feels that same way. So, GH, I would like to think, has an idea like, they've got to be able to kind of guess which way the wind's blowing the storyline. So please, GH writers, for some reason, if you don't understand how this is being received by your viewing public, just know, oh lordy, it's time for this storyline to go. Yeah, so, yep, and Rock Music Love 25 says Frank is right last week when he said that they should finish the storyline off screen. Yes, I still feel like that is still a viable way to end this. It is not too late, Rock Music Love 25. We can still do that at any time. I feel like, yes, let's just have that scene where we're talking in Kelly's and we sum it all up and we move on to another storyline. So fingers crossed that happens. If Crimson wants to still stay at the corner, the leading front of fashion magazines, as Nina said, that she's turned this thing around, then the worst thing that you could do is have an inside the man of Manlanders. So let's lose this. Let's move on. So enough Manlanders talk. Enough. I don't think anybody's going to be taking that up. Oh, and we've got J.A. saying, Frank, I hope you take some calls. Well, gosh, guys. I mean, if it's just me, I guess I could just, why not hear from some of you too as well? So yeah, why not open it up to some calls? Look at that. And Kelly from PEI, of course, wish we had more of Naxie in the sauna. Yeah, Kelly. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't, clamoring for some hot sauna scenes. The fact that Maxie sat in there in a nice dress, her business casual dress or whatever, to sit there in a sauna and have this discussion. I know she really wanted this job back at Crimson, but yeah, I feel like that's got to be uncomfortable to just be sitting in that sauna in a dress for any length of time having that discussion. Not very comfortable. Yeah, and please, let's give Maxie her own storyline. Let's do that. If we're going to stay along the lines of Maxie Scorpio, though, why don't we go over to some of her family? We got Felicia and Mac. Again, I love me some Felicia and Mac, and they're completely underutilized in this show, and we don't get to see them enough. But the time that we do get to see them this week, it's to help support the Anna Finn storyline. But we started all off with them there in the floating rib, just in a serious makeout session right there at the table. And I feel like nobody's going to tell Mac no, since he runs that place. So nobody's going to tell Mac that he can't make out with Felicia right there. But we get to see a little bit of them having a dinner with Finn, and basically it's their opportunity, Mac and Felicia, to kind of vet Finn to see if he's worthy enough for Anna's attention. So of course, I don't know about this storyline. I'm on two minds of the storyline. One, it's fine for Michael Easton. I mean, it's they have good chemistry. I mean, certainly I'd rather see Anna hanging out with John McBain than Finn. But Finn's an all right character, and it's a different change. I guess I will be happy to see him do something like this as opposed to being saddled in a long, drawn-out addiction storyline and a disease storyline. So if I have to choose between the two, I would rather see Finn in this storyline. But then this segues into a little bit of the Patient 6 without going too far into it. But again, I really wanted this to be Andre's storyline. And as we see revealed with Andre, as soon as, I don't know how everybody else felt it here in the chat as well, is that when Andre on Monday's episode was found out to be the person here in Port Charles that has hired them for their services or whatnot, then I felt like you just started putting a ticking clock on Andre's time on the show. We are in a I feel like a countdown to goodbye for Andre, because this, man, there was just so much potential with this character that I feel like this is all we have left now, is that they did nothing with him for so long that when they decided to add a little heat to the Patient 6, Jason Morgan, Jake Doe storyline, I'm sure, much like they did with Paul Hornsby's, they look around the rest of the canvas and say, who do we have here? Who is flexible enough in terms of a character that we could easily slot them into being a bad guy in the storyline? That would be kind of a twist surprise to the audience. And I feel like, you know, when you look at that, it's pretty much like any character that's been kind of underutilized or underdeveloped on the show. And that is definitely Andre for sure. So now we've got Andre, his role is going to be revealed. And I feel like then once that's all set up, it's just going to be, see you later, Andre. You're either going to jail or you're going to be running out of town. So I don't know how quickly it's going to happen, but I feel like it's definitely sooner rather than later. And it's a shame because I feel like we never really got to see Andre in his full potential. One of those ways, and as I'm sure everybody, well, at least I felt this way, I felt like a lot of people in the chat there, that Andre was going to be involved with Anna. And people there in the chat is like Kelly from BEI saying someone else is pulling Andre's strings. Well, sure, there's somebody else involved, but still, the fact that he's involved in keeping Jason away from all his loved ones and connecting already puts him on the wrong side of it, which means that he's got to lose, which means that he's got to be moving out of Port Charles, moving out of the storyline. And Charlie and Char says they'll get rid of the character Andre so they can pay Steve Burton. Whether I think we've had people come in here and talk about, like, you know, salary issues. You know, that's not really so much, but it's no, it was quick side tangent here. Taylor Jones, guys, who is Ned's daughter again? I'm doing a crossword. Gosh, oh my gosh, her name is Brooklyn. There you go. Thanks, Charlie in Charge. There you go. Brooklyn is Ned's daughter. There you go. Saving the day there. But yeah, so whatever, you know, for whatever reason they decided to do with Andre, and I feel like it's more that they have this character that the show knows that they haven't really done much with, and so now when they needed a bad guy for this plot, or at least one bad guy, whether or not the big bad, but at least somebody that's kind of here in Port Charles doing some dirty work for whoever may be the ultimate big bad of this. You look around your canvas, you see who you have, who you could easily fit into that slot, and you know you've got Andre just sitting there, really kind of underdeveloped. So it's a shame because I rather would have seen him with Anna. But getting back to how that relates to the Anna and Finn story, so instead of having Anna and Andre together, now they seem to be doing a kind of one of those like little fun things with Anna and Finn, where it's like, hey, we're just doing this for a cover story, and then we're going to find out, hey, maybe there's something there to this relationship that we should really consider making real instead of just play acting that we're in a relationship, which I think was evidenced by the kiss as they kissed right there at Floating Group. I mean, like prompted by like Mac and Felicia. I don't know whether it was like they didn't believe that this relationship was real. So, but like who, like just automatically just like goads your friend into like, oh, well, you're not gonna kiss her goodbye. You're not gonna kiss. You're not gonna kiss. Like, who cares if they don't kiss or not? It's their relationship. If they want to kiss in public, they can. If they don't want to kiss in public, they have that right too. Why do you need to be goaded? They don't need you, Felicia and Matt, kind of goading them into doing this kissing. Yeah, get out of here. But regardless, they do show that kiss there, and you see Finn kind of walks away, and Anna has that little smirk to her. So she's like, maybe this wasn't as bad as I thought. So we'll see where this storyline goes. I feel like we're going to be seeing them getting involved in a relationship. So I don't know. Does anybody feel like, hey, do we want to see a Finn and Anna relationship? We take this kind of just for their cover story to be able to kind of bust to bust our whatever her name is. I forgot her name, but that she's coming into town. Do we like that as the cover story, and you're excited to see this turn into the real thing, or would you rather not have have them together. And I just look at herd mentality. Ooh, that was awful and forced and creepy, no kissed. And I agree, Kelly from PEI, John J. York and Christina Wagner, they deserve a better storyline. They've deserved it for the longest time. There is so much untapped potential. It's just multitudes of stories that you could do with them, that you could make them a very relevant part of the canvas on an ongoing basis. And for whatever reason, the show is just feeling that they don't want to really do much of those characters other than have them in a supporting role in probably the least the least thankful type of supporting roles. They just get some of the worst bits to be able to kind of patch into other storylines. Tommy in the chat says, Anna and Finn is not what I'm here for. And Michael B, no, I do not. Andre and Anna. And Miss Yaki says, it's about time Anna had a romance, but I did love Anna and Andre. I would agree. I feel like almost everybody, I think, if you had to choose, wouldn't you rather see Anna and Andre together rather than Finn and Anna? I mean, Anna and Andre had just like a natural chemistry right from the start. There was just something about them that you're just like, yeah, I like to see them as a couple. And they flirted around for the longest time. They kind of danced around it. And it was, the R. Melvin fan says, no, Andre and Anna for life. I agree. I mean, we had that nice little where they danced, they kissed. It just seemed like a really nice, sweet, genuine moment. And then I felt like that's when you saw the writer's hands come in and say, like, you know, we're just going to give the fans a little bit about what they want, but then we're just going to ignore the obvious chemistry that these two characters and these two actors have together and just say, you know what, we did that kiss and we're just going to be friends. I feel like that was definitely the writers coming in and putting that in, because at least for the fans watching it, we felt like, no, this is a natural combination. They really should have it. If you just let them do this, become a couple, this could be really interesting. But they did not, so we will see if something changes there. And Charlie in Charge wants to know what Anna and Andre's ship name would be. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it would just be Andre. I feel like Andre gets out of that pretty good, unless you'd have to go with their, I guess maybe their last names, maybe. Yeah. Maybe that might be better to get a ship name out of there. Oh, yeah. Well, Michael B adds a double, Andre with two N's there. So, yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah, Andre. We'll see what happens there. So, we've got that storyline going on, which ties into Valentine's storyline. He's feeling a little heat there because our lady from Morocco, she's come to town there and wants Valentine to help play ball with her operation. And, of course, Valentine, now that he's got Charlotte, now that he's got Nina, doesn't want to get involved back with her again. So meets her on the pier, where all great clandestine meetings must happen there in Port Charles, and gives her a little manila folder or the manila envelope with a bunch of people that he's personally picked out that he think would be a great asset in helping her and her keep her organization on track. She rejects all of that because she doesn't want these people that she doesn't even know. She wants Valentine. And to secure his services, gives him a photo in return, and we open it up and find out what that photo is. It's a photo that of somebody that she ran into, and it happens to be Claudette. So finally, the shoe is dropped on what good old Valentine is done with Claudette. Not dead, very much alive, as we all suspected, holding up a newspaper with the current date on it. So now that she knows that Claudette's alive, Valentine knows that she knows that Claudette's alive. You can very much see why he was going to want to do what he needs to do to be able to kind of keep all that quiet, because you don't want that to be let out. But if you're going to have her holding that photograph, in a photograph holding that newspaper up, you can better be sure that it's going to be a case of not if, but when we are going to find out Claudette is alive and well, and how that affects the whole custody battle, everything that Valentine's been doing. He's going to be in for a little bit of a fall, and especially that's going to kind of diminish him a bit in his eyes with Charlotte. I mean, once Charlotte finds out that, oh wait, not only did you lie to me about Mom being dead, but you also had something to do with her kind of being having disappeared from my life for so long. I feel like Valentine's in for a little bit of a fall. I will be curious to see how that's going to affect he and Nina. I mean, it's I mean, I feel like that would have to affect it in some fashion, but I also don't want to go back to Valentine trying to win back Nina again, too, because that first time they did it was so long and drawn out that it really got annoying. So at this point, I'd rather just have Nina be like angry, but angry at Valentine, but not going to leave him, because I just don't want to be seeing them stuck in this whole like, hey, I'm going to win you back and prove to you that I'm not a terrible person. As Miss Jackie says, Nina is a fool in love. Absolutely, she is. But I don't know. Would you rather see Nina and Valentine together, or would you rather see them apart? I know there are some people that kind of say like, hey, it would be great to see. There is a small contingent, I guess, that would like to see Franco and Nina back together. I've got really no interest in that. I feel like that was fine, but I feel like they've both grown out of that relationship, and I'm a fan of both of them. At least I like Franco in the Elizabeth storyline, even though I'm not a huge fan of that. You know, it's like, I'd rather, I think if I had to choose between Franco and Elizabeth or Franco and Nina, I'll take Franco and Elizabeth. Much like between Franco, Nina, and Nina and Valentine, I will take Nina and Valentine over Franco and Nina the whole time. Miss Brown says apart. She needs a good relationship. Michael B says together. And yeah, there you go. Odessa, Franco and Liz are the bomb. Frizz all the way. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to go with I'd rather see them together. I don't know. I mean, unless I don't know who else you could pair Valentine with at this point. And Nina, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with them being together and, you know, just like be mad at each other, work through your issues, but never be like, I got to leave you. Our relationship is over. Let's just kind of put that to bed, because I feel like otherwise we're just going to end in the Sonny and Carly situation where they end up just blowing everything apart, and then you got to watch weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of just, you know, hurtfulness between the two of them, and then they just come back together again. So it's like a lot of plate spinning just to get us back to where we went to, for a lot of manufactured unnecessary drama. Yeah, so, you know, folks, we're getting closer to the phone lines being opened up here. So before we open up the phone lines, I'm going to just share some thoughts about the Patient 6 storyline, and then I'll open up the phone lines for you folks to be doing that. So, big storyline that we're all enjoying the most here. We've got the Patient 6, and what a week it was. What I've loved is like this. For as much as I was worried that this was going to be drawn out, that they've really been moving this storyline along. And finally we get to see Jason meet Sonny. Of course, there was always the big speculation as who's going to be the first person in Port Charles that he's already known, that he's going to be able to meet and kind of share his thoughts with. And it turned out to be his main guy, Sonny. I mean, yeah, which makes sense. I'd rather take that over Sam, for sure. So we get to see them meet in one of the safe houses. They have that conversation, and only in soaps can you sit there and just have a talk where it's we're just like, hey, yeah, you know, this person used to be dead, but now they're not, and this person used to be dead, and now they're not, and oh wait, you're not dead. So look at all these things, great things happening here in Port Charles. All of us are alive, so you can just have this conversation where you get to catch that character up to the current status quo of Port Charles and all its various citizens. But there's the meantime, we've also got the big the big media we're launching there of Derek Wells Media. So we've got the Billy Miller, Jason, and Sam rebranding it, and they've rebranded it Aurora. Feel free to chime in. Do you like the rebranding name of Derek Wells Media to Aurora Media? I find it very lackluster, and for as much of whatever that Sam's rationale for picking that name, I was like, I was really underwhelmed by the new name. I was like, whatever. And the fact that every character has to acknowledge that they're surprised that this version of Jason has bought a media company, which none of them would expect. It just goes to show you that, like, if everybody thinks that this is a weird move by you, Jason, maybe you should reconsider. Like, maybe this is the best move that you could make. Whatever that might be. I'm sure there's many other businesses you could find that you could work together with Sam on that are legitimate, that would bring you happiness and stability than tackling a multimedia empire. But regardless, they're doing the big rebranding. We've already got two of Andre's, and we've got our good old doctor from Russia. He's got a couple of his henchmen that have been on the trail of Jason Morgan. They are now implanted there at the relaunch party as waiters. serving drinks there, and things go down there, and they take hostages. They draw their guns. Of course, Jason and Dante, they take care of them, but Carly's able to get out a text to Sonny that there's an emergency there at the Metro Court. So of course, Sonny and Stone Cold, they go there and attack. I like that Jason heads up to the rooftop to go look in, and Sonny just so the easiest way to get into the Metro Court. There's that cop that says, "No, sir, you cannot go into this building whatsoever," and then turns his back when he gets a phone call to very easily allow Sonny just to walk in to the elevator to go upstairs. Like that, the lamest way possible. So of course we got everything going down. Sonny comes in and busts up the ring there and says, "Hey, you know what? I can kill you right now if you're gonna take Carly hostage. I'll shoot you right here, or I'll hunt you down. So don't worry. You can either, let her go or suffer my wrath." So that henchman drops his gun. Jason's already the Billy Miller Jason has already kind of subdued the bald bearded guy. So everything looks like it's going to be fine. And we got Stone Cold sitting up top of the rooftop looking down through a skylight just to, like, all right, like everything's chill. But we find out, of course, that there's one more henchman in the mix, and that's somebody that's been given some serum, I assume, filled with that great horse tranquilizer that they use so often on Stone Cold in St. Petersburg, but to get Sam. And if you grab somebody that Stone Cold's really attached to, you can use her as bait. And that was the plan there. So this person goes right into the media launch party, puts the needle there in Sam, and of course Stone Cold is above the skylight, sees all this going down, and that person, which I like, is that this person is just taking her right out of the Metro Court, so they're walking out, like she's already like collapsed in his arms, like nobody's paying attention to this. You just went through like two men holding everybody hostage in there, and it's all been covered up now, but then you've got this guy like kind of like dragging like the Sam out of there. Nobody would notice this, but regardless of how ridiculous that looked, we see Stone Cold sees all this happening and says, I'm going to bust down and I'm going to save Sam. Yeah, I can't wait any longer. I got to do this. And this was such a cool idea and concept. I was like all jazzed, like, all right, he's going to come crashing through the skylight like a badass. It's going to be awesome. And then we get this really long, drawn-out scene of him using the butt of his gun to kind of break all the glass on the skylight. Make sure and it like takes way too many cracks of the butt of the gun to break it all down, because not a lot of it breaks at the first go. It's like a little bit and a little bit more, and then he spends some time just like clearing out all the edges to make sure there's no jagged glass whatsoever. And while this is happening, the guy that's dragging out Sam, he pauses and looks up there like, if this is happening, because it's taken forever for Stone Cold to bust through this window, the guy should have just kept on moving with Sam. Everybody's distracted looking at Jason, trying to come through the skylight. Just keep moving with Sam and get the heck out of there. But no, he just stands there and lets Jason smash everything down, smash all the glass out. Then we get a nice cool slow-mo hop down. I was all for that really cool dramatic entrance by Steve Burton. And, it lands down, kind of his head down, kind of a nice Matrix-y sort of land. Then comes out with his gun drawn. Looks cool, looks awesome, but it was so poorly executed. It could have been so awesome, and yet I was like, damn it, I wanted this scene to be awesome, and it is just, it is just a shadow of what it could have been. So, of course, he gets away, and Jason follows him. What I don't understand, though, is that Sonny, at no time, like, he's watched all this happen too. He knows what the deal is. He knows that there's these guys trying to hurt people in there. And he sees Sam being dragged out. Why doesn't Sonny do anything? He just stands there by the counter next to Carly and just lets all this go down. Instead of like, hey, I'm way closer to this guy and Sam than Jason is. Let me help out my boy Jason, who I'm so excited to have back. Let me go and help him by subduing this guy. He doesn't. Sonny just stands there and lets everything happen. So they leave. Monica's seen this guy. Carly's seen this guy. Nobody right now is believing that this is Steve Burton is really Jason back in action. They've got lots of questions. Sonny, of course, for some reason is not wanting to share anything with anybody. Like, he'll tell Carly later, but he's not giving anything up to Monica. I don't know why he wouldn't just say like, hey, no, Jason's back. Say what, this is what happened. But he's not giving up anything. So everybody else is just letting like suspicion and doubt kind of seep into them. But anyway, a guy makes it down to the pier with to give it to our St. Petersburg doctor. Jason immediately shows up, and the one henchman says, "Hey man, I'm just out of here. I don't want any part of this." And he just walks by and then thinks he's gonna get the drop on Stone Cold, and of course Stone Cold shoots him. He's about to drop the St. Petersburg doctor, and he's like, "Hey, if you shoot me, you could hit her." He's like, "No, I won't. Don't worry, I'll hit you." And we see that he's going to throw Sam in the water so he can make an escape. So I'm going to open it up to the phone lines right now, and we'll hear your thoughts about that. I just needed to get that off. That was my favorite part of the week this week, was the whole Stone Cold stuff, and culminating in his entrance. But that was just, I want to know what you folks thought. If you thought it was a cool entrance, or it could have been it was a cool entrance in theory, but the execution of it left a lot to be desired. So anyway, feel free to chime in with the phone call right here. And if you want to join in on the phone calls, the number is 424-253-0749. Taylor Jones says, "I am so sick of Sam. Thank you." Taylor Jones, I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Little Sam goes a long way with me. Oh, and look at this. Steve, we've got a caller on the line. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the GH Report. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hi, my name's Brittany.
Brittany, how are you?
Bakersfield.
Nice. All right. What's the good? What did you like about GH this week?
The whole Jason thing, I thought it was good.
It was good. It wasn't great. It was just good, Brittany.
Yeah, I thought it was great. No, my thing was with I just don't know what they're gonna do with Sam. That's my thing.
What they're gonna do with? Well, I mean, I guess it's gonna be a big thing of how did Jake Doe, the Billy Miller version of Jason, get all of Stone Cold's memories? So how did that happen? I think that's gonna be the big mystery to uncover, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I feel like it has a lot to do with that missing chunk of time. Because I guess for Steve Burton, it seems like for his version of Jason, it only seems like mere days or weeks since he went into after he got shot and went into the river. So something went on during that big, huge gap of missing time.
Was that 5 years?
Yeah. So who do you think, if you had to pick somebody to be the big bad behind all of this, who would your pick be?
I feel Sonny somewhat because of how he's so close to the Jason that Sam is with now. He somewhat knows. I think that's why he didn't do anything, because he kind of knows a little more, I think.
You think Sonny is in on it? Interesting. All right. I would have not gone with that. That could be an interesting twist on that if Sonny was really in on it. But I was thinking more because I feel like it can't be, I mean, Helena might be a part of it, but since she's dead, she can't really be pulling the strings now. So I'm going to go with my pick that I had before. I'm going to still say Jerry Jacks is in the mix.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of that.
Yeah. So, but are you excited to have Steve Burton back on the show, though?
Oh, yeah. I think he, the actor, really was General Hospital was at home. So I felt like it was really good to see it back in action, because him being off of that show and going to Second the Rest of this, I think it's really good for him to be back. Really enjoying those.
And for, as you know, whatever your feelings are on Billy Miller, and so, I think for me, at least personally, I enjoyed him more as Jake Doe than I have as Jason Quartermaine or Jason Morgan. But he's done fine with what he's had. But there's something about seeing Steve Burton back that just makes you feel like, wow, yes, this is the Jason Morgan that we knew and loved.
Yeah, and I don't feel like it does have to do anything with Billy Miller. I think it's just the character. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean, we'll be excited to see what he is. I wonder if he will reclaim the name of Drew when all is revealed that he is basically Jason's twin. I don't know if he'll do that, or he'll still keep Jake Doe if he goes back to that. I'll be curious to see what he does.
Yeah.
All right.
Me too.
All right, Brittany, thanks for calling in, and we really appreciate you watching. Hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye, Brittany. Have a good one. All right. Look at this. The phone lines are buzzing. What's your name? Where are you from?
Mike from LA.
Ah, Mike from LA. How are you, sir?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right. So what are your thoughts on General Hospital this week?
Okay. I think Andre is a double agent for the WSB. I think he's undercover. I think he's investigating the Cassadines because I think Helena was probably in the drug trade, and she and Cassandra was in on it. Is in it on the new drug trade.
Interesting.
Right.
I would love it for Andre to be a double agent because I would hate for I don't want him to go off the show, but I don't know what else he's gonna do though.
Yeah, but I think he signed a 4-year thing, so it would make sense. Anna finds out that he was in on it. They have a test. He can't tell her that he's undercover. But they come at the situation from different angles, going to the same thing. Then naturally they'll figure everything out, get back together, and become boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, it's but no, that would I would be all happy for that. So anything that's going to give Anthony Montgomery some more to do on the show would be welcome, and as long as it doesn't require him wearing a fedora.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But, now Jason coming back through the window, it could have been a lot better.
Couldn't it have been? I know.
It could have been a lot better. Everybody. Now he jumped. He pointed the gun. Nobody recognized him.
I know. We get those cutaway shots to like Monica and Carly. They're like, huh? But that's it.
I could see if he landed, then the guy took off with Sam and he took off after him, then nobody could see his face. But he stood there for like, what, a minute?
Yeah, just kind of pointing the gun. That was it.
Yeah, and nobody didn't go, Jason, or something like nothing. That was all. But the rest of the week was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's just like, didn't you feel like I did? Like Jason was taking so long breaking that skylight, and the guy holding Sam was just standing there watching it. Like, just keep moving, dude. Keep moving. There's no reason to stay there and gawk at this thing.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm glad the Michael O'Neill thing is over.
Oh.
The Manlander thing. I wish they killed that, but I didn't know they was casting the brother and stuff. So I guess we had to keep that. But I'm thinking I have a theory that maybe Valentine and Nicholas are working together.
I would be down. I feel like it does seem like there's something not being said about that storyline, and I feel it's all going to come down to when and if they decide to either recast Nicholas or they bring back Tyler Christopher by some means. He decides he wants to come back to the show. Then I felt like you're going to find out what the real story is, and I feel like there's a lot of room for the writers to kind of put something in there that could be really interesting.
Yeah, because he didn't kill homegirl. He had every chance to do it, but he didn't do it.
No, that's true.
Then we find out that he was behind the theft in Europe, I guess, because somehow it's like I think Nicholas found out that the Cassadine money was gone, but Helena keeps popping up to spending money like with water. So I'm thinking they found out that Helena was in that drug, and because they keep mentioning this new drug that's on the PC campus, whatever. Yeah. It's spreading. Because I think Jordan mentioned that when she was trying to help that illegal person from the FBI. She mentioned it. I think some other people mentioned it. So I think it's gonna be like a new big drug or a new drug cartel coming in.
That which means it's somebody
whoever's behind it. I don't know. I don't know who's behind it.
Well, then I think you're.
I want to say Helena, but she's dead.
That's true. I feel like you're setting it up as somebody like trying to take over Sonny's turf, so it's going to be him and Steve Burton kind of fighting back, going back into the old hey, we're fighting back this rival gang that's trying to make their way into Port Charles.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, Michael. Thanks for calling in. Hopefully I know Charlie in the chat was saying that they should have hired the Arrow or Flash. CW superhero shows stunt people to be able to do that Steve Burton crashing into the skylight scene, and I would agree.
Well, it's so. And aren't those seasons to the Mexico kind of high? That was a. Okay, never mind. I don't want to go into detail. All right.
All right. Thanks, Michael. Have a good one.
All right.
Bye-bye. Yeah, that was definitely an example of where I feel like they had one take to do this, and they couldn't. They didn't have any more glass, so it's like only let him break it once, and then we'll have to use what we get. Another call on the line. What's your name? Where are you from? Welcome to the GH Report.
Hi, Frank. It's Kelly from PEI.
Kelly from PEI. Welcome. You're so excited about Nathan being in that sauna.
We just want a little bit more of them, okay?
Yeah, but didn't you find it ridiculous, though, when Maxie was in there with her in her dress talking to Nina? Oh, like that seems like so uncomfortable.
Yeah, and then they went to commercial or into the show, and that could have disappeared in a flash.
Yeah. All right, so
Anyway,
what are you thinking about the storylines this week?
loved every bit of it, from start to finish.
Even seeing Mac and Felicia just making out, because I mean, I saw you in the chat. You're saying they deserve better material.
Yeah, they could use better material. I'm sitting here laughing at the whole damn thing.
It's like, oh, it's
all that in the bar, that's just totally laughable.
Oh, I just like they're capable of doing so much. I wish the writers would actually give them real stuff to do.
Get back to the Felicia being mayor.
I don't know why. Like, why not do that storyline now? That gives her more to do. They
dropped that like a hot potato.
It's like, well, I feel like GH has this history of like teasing the audience with like cool story potential for a lot of characters, and then just dropping it and moving on to something else. So it's
yeah, we've been trying to figure out Nathan's father for, 3 years?
But don't worry, we have more Manlanders coming, because I know you wanted more of Kelly.
Well, we now have Check coming.
Which is no surprise, because he's been name-checked so many times that you have to see this guy, but
it's about time we actually saw the brother.
Well,
make a little more meat into it. Yeah, it's a boring storyline, but hey.
Yeah, but like,
throw the brother in there for a little bit.
I guess, but even if the brother's there, I mean, like, I feel like you could do other stuff with that brother. I don't care about. Do something else with the brother. Don't have it like make it a continuation of the Manlander storyline. Please.
They better end it by Christmas. Give us all a Christmas present. Thank you.
Well, I would hope it'd be even like Thanksgiving. Just let's give us all something to be thankful for and wrap the storyline up.
Well, considering Canadian Thanksgiving is all done, yeah. U.S. Thanksgiving, I'm all for it.
All right. What are you thinking about the Nell Michael storyline?
Please let this be the end of those two. But I doubt it.
No, I mean, of course, it's either going to be Nell kind of going Fatal Attraction on Michael, or just conniving something to kind of draw him back in.
It's going to worm her way back into his life so many times. It's going to make her head spin.
Maybe a false pregnancy. We haven't had one of those in a while.
No, we're done with those. We are so done with those.
All right.
If anybody's going to have a false pregnancy, it's going to be Lucretia.
That's true. There you go. All right, Kelly, before I let you go, I'll let you give your prediction. Who do you think is the big bad behind the whole Steve Burton's Jason being off the canvas for a while?
Faison. He hasn't been around in a while.
That's true. Maybe. Yeah. Okay. Not a bad choice.
Or Helena. Nobody's dead in Port Charles for long.
No, that's true. All right. Okay. I mean, I'm welcome to see Helena back anytime.
Nobody stays in the ground in Port Charles for long.
No, except for Duke Lavery, sadly. Duke.
No, he'll be resurrected. Those are not his ashes.
I hope that is correct. I would love for that to be the case.
Oh, why? I love him to death, but right now he is on Bold and Beautiful.
That's true. Soon enough. Everything's cyclical. You're right. We'll get him back on Port Charles soon enough. Fingers crossed.
We better. I love that Scottish accent.
All right, Kelly. We're going to wrap up. Thank you so much for calling. Writers, let's just have a bunch of sauna scenes next week for Kelly. Please. Just do that for her.
And thanks for changing the color.
All right. Thanks for calling, Kelly. Have a good week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, how the time has flown. Look at this, everybody. Oh, Miss Yaki, Duke needs to stay dead? Oh, come on. Where's your heart? Don't you want to see them tangoing again? Please. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us, or not joining us. Well, yeah, it's me and Steve. Yeah, so joining us for this episode of the GH Report. And of course, folks, you can always like us on Facebook, give us those 5 stars on iTunes, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and of course, give it a thumbs up while you're there. And everybody, thanks for hopping in the chat. Sarah C, thank you so much for the kind words. Charlie in charge? No, Duke? Oh, man. Fine. Look at this. I didn't realize everybody was just turning on Duke here. That's all right. All right, guys. I may not agree with you on the Duke thing, but I still respect your opinion, and I love you taking the time to hop in the chat and sharing your thoughts about General Hospital. I'll be back here with Lucretia next week to break down another exciting week in General Hospital. We're going to see what happens here with do Steve Burton and Billy Miller meet face-to-face finally? I would say the odds are a solid yes on that happening. Folks, until then, though, if you want to stay in touch with me and chat about anything in Port Charles, I would love to hear your thoughts. You can reach me on Twitter or Instagram at HappyGoJackie. Folks, thanks a lot for joining in. We'll see you back here next Sunday night for another episode of the GH Report right here on AfterBuzz TV.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.